Did you know that there are a huge number of strange, and sometimes even creepy dishes in the world? Are you aware of which countries enjoy eating century eggs for lunch and snacking on fried silkworm larvae? Watch my new video, and you'll find out what quirky dishes street vendors and cafes offer in different countries, and which street food you definitely won't want to try. So are you ready? Then put those pancakes aside for a bit, and let's go! Let's start with China. After all, that's where they eat everything that, I won't shy away from saying, isn't nailed down. Chinese cities attract tourists not only with their sights, but also with street food that is quite strange for the average European. For those looking for something special, skewered fried scorpions are offered. It is believed that eating scorpions can have a healing effect on the body. In addition, you can taste fried seahorses, frogs, especially their legs without the body are considered particularly tasty, crickets, and even black beetles. In traditional Chinese restaurants, you can find exotic dishes that may seem shocking to an unprepared visitor. For example, they serve duck and snake heads, fried small birds, and pickled embryos here. These unusual treats are laid out on the buffet and do not horrify the locals. The aroma of street food in China carries over a long distance. One of the popular dishes is tofu, which is fermented using milk, vegetables, meat or fish brine, or a combination of them. It is usually deep fried until crispy and served with various sauces in small square containers. Tofu is also steamed, braised, and added to soups. Some types of this dish have a distinct smell. On the streets of Thailand and Cambodia, you can see vendors preparing and selling crispy fried cockroaches. This unusual dish may seem strange to tourists, but locals consider it a delicacy. They eat insects with beer as a snack. If you've seen the Jackie Chan movie Walk on Wheels, you should remember the unusual cart that travels around the city. A street vendor will immediately prepare food for you, just as you wish. You can find such mobile kitchens on every corner in Pattaya, where they will happily fry up seeds, which are actually the chitinous shells of cockroaches, and then pack them into a bag. In northern Thailand, in the city of Chiang Mai, street cooks make pancakes from cricket flour. Locusts are well-dried, ground up, and used to prepare various dishes, including confections. This is another example of how locals use insects in cooking. If you want to try exotic dishes, head to Cambodia. In the fall, a spider festival takes place here. During this time, all the stalls and trays of vendors are filled with smoked tarantulas and fried tarantulas. Gourmets prefer spider eyes, which are ridiculously expensive for a poor country, costing a whole $5 per serving. Mexican cuisine can surprise even the most discerning gourmets. It includes a wide variety of ingredients, from insects to exotic vegetables and fruits. Some of these ingredients may seem strange and unfamiliar to people from other countries, but in Mexico, they are considered delicacies. One of these unusual products is huitlacoche, or as it's called, the Mexican truffle. It's a pathogenic fungus that affects corn during the rainy season. In Europe and the US, this disease is considered a serious problem that can lead to crop loss. However, in Mexico, huitlacoche is valued as a delicacy. It is said to have a flavor similar to a mix of black truffles and shiitake, but with a more intense smoky aroma. Another unusual product of Mexican cuisine is cuetlas, the larvae of the peacock butterfly. They inhabit the trees and chia plants in the state of Puebla. Locals collect them and prepare them with guacamole or other spicy sauces. Cuetlas have been a part of the diet of rural communities for hundreds of years. The collection of the larvae takes place during the rainy season when the soil becomes too soft for fieldwork. Another extreme dish is alacrones, arachnids, also known as scorpions. These insects are typical in Southeast Asian cuisine, but after the opening of the Races and Los Margaritas restaurants in Durango, Mexico, they have become popular here as well. The concept of these establishments involves preparing traditional regional dishes, including tacos with scorpion. Interestingly, scorpions are also eaten on the Yucatan Peninsula. Residents place buckets of water by their beds at night to keep various types of arthropods from crawling under the blankets. Alacrones are prepared in various ways. They can be caramelized on skewers, cooked in broth, or served as tacos. Before cooking, they are soaked in alcohol and thoroughly rinsed. France, a country famous for its exquisite cuisine. But besides well-known dishes like croissants, onion soup, and ratatouille, you can try street food that might seem unusual to tourists. One such dish is burgundy snails. Before cooking, the snails are fed special herbs with a cleansing effect, thoroughly washed, and then fried with garlic and parsley. This dish has a unique taste and aroma that will be remembered for a long time. Another unusual dish. I apologize in advance to the shy ladies when I mention its ingredients. This, my friends, is lamb eggs. Yes, you heard that right. The preparation of this delicacy is quite simple. They are cleaned, soaked in cold water for 3 hours, then chopped and fried in a pan with lemon and parsley. A local white wine serves as a zesty ingredient. I think that before eating this dish, one should prepare very well with the help of the same wine. May the people of France forgive me. And, of course, we can't forget about roasted chestnuts, which are one of the most popular street treats in France. Chestnuts are also used to make soups and bake desserts. It is the roasted chestnuts that are especially loved by the French. In the fall, you can find carts with roasted chestnuts everywhere, and their aroma awakens the appetite even in the fullest of people. In Australia, where kangaroos and emus are not just exotic animals but part of the local cuisine, you can try steak made from these amazing creatures. For locals, this is a dietary dish with a unique flavor, while for tourists, it's pure exoticism. Also, in Australia, they love to grill, for example, crocodile meat. What do you think of this dish? One of the most famous Australian street foods is the beetroot burger. Thinly sliced beetroot is placed on a patty made from local beef. It's a very interesting combination, unusual and uniquely Australian. Also, if you feel like snacking on the street, you can buy a serving of fries with fried fish. What's so special about this bud? Some tourists claim that if this dish is worth eating, it's only when it's freshly made. Otherwise, the fries turn into rubber and the fish becomes a sticky mess. I won't comment on that, as they say, to each their own. In Cameroon, tasty and large beetle larvae are highly valued, especially those that live on palm trees. These larvae, rich in protein and other important elements, are very popular among the local population. They are often prepared by frying and become a real delicacy. A similar tradition of eating insects is common in Asian countries like Indonesia, where fried larvae also have their fans. Additionally, mopane worms are particularly popular in Zimbabwe. These bright and large insects are collected from trees, after which their insides are removed, and the larvae are fried until crispy. According to those who have tried this unusual dish, it tastes like chicken. However, for most tourists, such food may seem quite exotic and unfamiliar. If you enjoy jellied fish and aspic, then this delicacy is sure to please. We're talking about jellied eel. The only thing that confuses is this. Looks more like a snake, but it has almost no bones. However, for those who have never tried aspic, like Americans, such a dish may seem strange. But the English coast is the perfect place for a vacation. Soft sand, the sea, ice cream, and little edible snails. The Brits first thoroughly wash these mollusks to get rid of sand and salt, and then they boil them before serving with salt and vinegar. Those who have tried say that these snails not only look unappealing but also cause quite a bit of trouble when being extracted from their shells. Moreover, the effort put into eating such a delicacy is hardly worth the pleasure gained. Although some believe that consuming such seafood helps maintain the marine ecosystem, if you find yourself on the west coast of England, try ordering traditional fish and chips instead. Fish with fries sprinkled with salt and drizzled with vinegar. This will be a much more familiar choice. Cocoa rich is a dish made from sheep or goat offal, baked in intestines. It is usually grilled and served with a bun. For many people, just the mention of intestines brings about unpleasant feelings. However, for locals, it's a popular street food. Nevertheless, it's worth noting that cocoa rich has a pleasant taste, especially when paired with a glass of beer. At first glance, cocoa rich looks quite appetizing. It has a cylindrical shape and slowly rotates over the fire. However, in reality, it's sheep intestines filled with various offal. To turn it into street food, the meat is finely chopped, mixed with spices, and wrapped in a bun, lavash, or flatbread. If you decide to try cocoa rich, ask to have it wrapped in lavash or flatbread. The option with a bun may be less successful due to a possible imbalance between the amount of bread and the filling. The dish is often spicy or even very spicy. To be continued. Natto is fermented soybeans that first undergo a fermentation process, turning into a sticky mass covered in slime. The dish has a distinctive aroma and stickiness, making it quite unusual. Western tourists often experience shock at the sight of natto, while Japanese people calmly include it in their breakfast routine. If food is featured in the movie Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, it's best to avoid tasting it. Such a slogan could describe some exotic dishes. However, the Japanese apparently decided to ignore this advice and began to consume tuna eyeballs en masse. Tuna eyes are hard to miss at markets and stalls in Japan. Their intense gaze seems to invite you to try this oddity. They are usually boiled and drizzled with soy sauce and rice wine. The taste is said to be something like a cross between a hard-boiled egg and squid. Besides the unique flavor, tuna eyeballs are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which can have positive effects on your health. If you manage to overcome the psychological barrier and not think about the fact that you're chewing a fish eye, your mental abilities may significantly improve. Hakkarl is a traditional Icelandic dish made from fermented shark meat. There you go. The smell of this delicacy is so strong that it can deter even the bravest foodies. The base for hakkarl is the meat of the Greenland shark, which contains toxic substances that are harmful to human health if consumed raw. However, after a long process of fermentation and aging, the meat becomes safe and gains its unique popularity. The history of making hakkarl spans several centuries, and mentions of this dish can even be found in ancient Icelandic sagas. The meat of the Greenland shark contains a significant amount of urea, which contains ammonia, giving it its distinctive smell and taste. The preparation process involves cutting the shark carcass into pieces, which are then left to decompose for several months. After that, the pieces of the pungent, foul-smelling meat are ready to eat. Many who have tried hakkarl claim it is one of the most disgusting dishes on the planet, and considering the specifics of its preparation and smell, it's easy to believe these words. Pancakes are candies with a unique flavor that is hard to describe as typically sweet. They are considered one of the most unusual sweets in Scandinavia. They first appeared in 1965 as small black dragées with licorice and salmiak, packaged in a cardboard box featuring a panther on the lid. Later, a sugar coating was added, slightly altering their flavor profile. The most popular form of pancake became large discs covered in sugar glaze, which are sold in plastic bags adorned with the same panther. Initially, only pancake candies with a salmiak licorice flavor were produced, but in the 1990s, Phaser introduced a new line called Pancake Mix, which includes fruit flavors. Ballot. For some, it's everyday street food, while for others, it's a true test for the eyes and stomach. What could be strange about a regular boiled egg? It turns out, quite a lot. Beneath its harmless shell lies a tiny duck embryo, cooked right along with the egg. Sounds pretty disgusting already, right? Fertilized duck eggs are intentionally aged for about 20 days before being boiled, creating this unusual delicacy. The process of eating ballot requires some preparation. First, you need to crack open the egg, and inside you'll find a flavorful broth. At this stage, most people stop, but the bravest continue on to reach the embryo itself. Haggis is a traditional Scottish dish that, while not considered classic street food, is widely available in restaurants, pubs, and shops across Scotland. You can order it at almost any food establishment, as well as buy it at butcher shops or farmers' markets. In Scottish fast food spots, haggis is often served as a large sausage, battered and fried. In reality, haggis is a sheep's stomach stuffed with a mixture of sheep offal, buckwheat, and other ingredients that the cook had on hand. To prepare classic Scottish haggis, you need sheep's offal, liver, lungs, and heart. They are first boiled, finely chopped together with onions and internal fat, and then mixed with crushed oats. The mixture is generously seasoned with nutmeg, lemon juice, sage, and other spices. The resulting mass is placed in a clean sheep's stomach, tightly tied, and boiled. True gourmets add Scottish whiskey to the broth, which infuses the dish during cooking. Of course, street food in different countries has a very specific character. An unprepared tourist may find it extremely difficult to overcome their disgust when they want to try some local delicacies. Whether it's worth it is up to each person to decide. I, however, friends, want to make you an interesting offer. You have a unique opportunity to become part of our team. If you have video editing skills, can voice videos in Russian, English, and other languages, or write interesting scripts, we would be happy to work with you. Message our Telegram bot. The link is in the description. That's all for today. See you soon.